All right, Bennett, I kind of love this topic quite a bit. It's about influencers, not the YouTube ones that we hear about a lot right now, but people. And sometimes it's a second in our life, and sometimes it's a lifetime. And I always talk about my grandfather as one of my first ones, where he and my grandmother, my mom, my aunt came from Kyiv, Ukraine, and came to Canada years and years ago. And he used to take me when I was about 5 years old in Montreal to the park, and he knew everybody, it seemed, or he talked to everybody anyway. And one day I asked him, I called him Zeta, how do you know all these people? And I remember him pointing and saying, see that fellow coming over? And one day I smiled at him and he ended up smiling back and he came over and then we were laughing and then someone else saw us and they came over. And I remember my 5-year-old brain thinking, and my friends are going to play on that one because they're going to tell me I still have the 5-year-old brain, but that's another story. Saying, wow, well, life is going to be great. All I have to do is smile. I literally thought that, and which was great for a young person to hear. But and then you get older, you complicate things, and then hopefully you get wiser, and you realize that it is just even a smile that can make a difference and influence people. We all have different types of influencers. Can you share two or three people that have been influential in your life?
Yeah, I mean, one of the biggest influences that I ever had um, in my adult life, even though I don't really count it as an adult, I was like 22 years old. There was a gentleman named Ray, worked with him at Unilever, and he was one of the pilot plant technicians. And he was open enough to show me that it doesn't matter what your job is. If you're interested in something and you're nice, like you said, and you seem interested and don't come in with, preconceived expectations and notions, that people will talk to you and they'll let you be a part of stuff. And I've taken that with me, my whole life, just going into a situation and just being like, hi, what are you working on? Being interested goes a long way, especially in fact, in my job, just being interested in other people and what they're doing. So
Right.
Ray was a big influence. I had a teacher in middle school. His name was David, and he actually opened my eyes to just questioning different things. He was, history teacher, and he's like, "Well, this is the story, but what can you find out? Try to find another side to this story, or try to think about this in another way." And I think that, like, as I've developed and grown from that point of view, it's the seventh grade, so 12 years old. It's like, okay, what else? Okay, is there another side? Is there another perspective? Get
Right.
all of that before you make an opinion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's brilliant. Anyone else you want to mention?
My wife, Rebecca, is a
Good
pretty
move.
big influencer. Honestly, wouldn't have been here without her. And she's always said, do your best, but you can do it. Even when you have self-doubt, it's just thinking that, it's okay to step off that ledge, just like we're doing here, and talk on camera and stuff.
Well, way to go, Rebecca. Keep it up, man.
Yeah. Yeah. She's stuck with me now. So of
Thanks for sharing that.
course.